Hey guys, I'm Lonnie.
And I'm Lisa.
And this is
A Whole Mom.
A Whole Mom was created for those of us who are dealing with the everyday struggles of adulting while also being a whole mom out here.
Period.
So, are we going to do a check-in today?
We could check in. Okay, can we do what I saw on the internet?
She didn't even tell me what she saw on the internet before we got on here.
Right.
What did you see on the internet, friend?
So I saw this post. It was like a tip on like using natural consequences for your kids.
Okay.
So one of the things that she said was like, say your kids don't wash the dishes. Instead of being like, I'm taking your phone or whatever, I'm taking your tablet or whatever, be like, okay, well now you have to wash the dishes tomorrow as well. Like if Tuesday is their day, then like making them wash the dishes the next day, because that's more close to like a real life consequences. If you don't do something now, then you're going to have more to do later. And so there was all these, like, the post that I saw had like a bunch of different responses. But then somebody was like, you know, it's not always that easy, or it was like a couple that were like, well, you know, whatever works in one person's house doesn't always work in other people's house, and blah, 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 blah. But then one girl was like, why every time somebody try to give y'all like a constructive way of parenting, people want to be like, it's not that easy? It is that easy. So I was wondering, friend, what is your take when you try to present a different parenting style to someone, and they're not really getting with it? What do you think it is that holds people back from changing from those parenting styles that they are used to?
Well, you know, this is something that I do in my everyday life.
Yes. That was why I wanted your opinion on it.
So I think that a lot of the time parents get discouraged because it's not happening quick enough.
So they're not getting the results that they want quick enough.
Yes. And so a lot of the time things get worse before they get better. So if this is a household where maybe the kids there was not as much follow through, or as much consistency, or didn't have the consequences, the kid is almost 100% going to kick back some. So that child might let those dishes pile up for a whole week.
And then what are you going to do?
I've definitely seen those types of things happen. And so then, you know, the parent is probably going to end up washing them themselves. When you said natural consequences, I'm just thinking of, okay, well, those are your dishes. Those are the only dishes you can eat off of. So you don't have any more clean ones. So until you wash those, like, this is what you have to use. That's what I was thinking. That's natural
what somebody else responded to. They were like, you're going to have to eat your cereal off a paper towel.
Because there are no dishes. Because you did not wash them.
That is a natural consequence. Especially when you are single out here and you got 4 dishes.
Right?
Been there.
I mean, yeah. I'm all for natural consequence. My kids are also older, so a lot of the time you do have to. And when I think of a natural consequence, I think of something that just happens naturally. Right? So, I mean, I guess that's a natural consequence. I guess.
I think change is hard. One. So people just have a hard time doing anything that is different than they've already been doing. But also, when people say it's easier said than done, or it's not always that easy, I think, of course. Yeah, it's not. But I think a part of what makes it difficult is checking your own emotions first.
Exactly. What is your attitude towards this? Are you already defensive?
Right.
Like, oh, are you already defensive and defeated? Like, this is not going to work. We've tried everything. Okay.
Yes.
And I was also going to say, like, consistency. You can't just do it once.
You cannot just do it once. You have to be consistent. And if you pick that battle, you got to stick with it. Like you said, them dishes might pile up for a week.
Like, as a parent, like, we've helped kids get potty trained. That did not happen overnight. Or maybe getting your kid out of your room. Like, how much sleep did you lose doing those things?
Yeah.
So when you're teaching those other things, it's not the same exact thing, but it's the same thing.
It is, though.
It's the same thing.
It's the same concept.
Consistency.
Yeah, consistency is important. And I think, like when I say checking your emotions, too, like, being like, what am I doing? My child got it. Not like not having that knee-jerk reaction. So, like, not immediately going with the angry thing that you wanted to do, and like taking a beat to think about it, like what really should work here. Because when you're trying to think of natural consequences, like, I think a lot of times it's rooted in, like, why is this important to me? Right? So what am I trying to avoid by having you do this, and then imposing that upon you?
Right.
But yeah,
definitely.
I think a lot of people just don't necessarily take that time to consider things and think about it, and then, like, it's just doing something that is abnormal to you can be hard.
Right. I do think a lot of the time it is caught up in, as a parent, you have to ask yourself, like you said, what is the root of this?
Girl.
Am I just going off because I'm already stressed out and now I got to walk into this house and the dishes are dirty? Is this something that as a kid, like, maybe you were punished for so much for not doing or not having done?
Right. And or now you just feel like it's a big deal. It's not even really a big deal.
Or you're worried about, somebody else judging you based off of how many dirty dishes you have. My house is lived in.
Period.
It's not spick and span. I mean, and it is what it is.
There's people up in here. Yeah.
Go ahead and hire a maid. Or cleaning person. Let me not say maid.
Yeah, cleaning person.
Cleaning company, because if you need 4 or 5 of them in there,
it ain't tricking if you got
look, do what you need to do.
Facts. Okay, that was my little curveball for today. Okay. But yeah, we don't have to check in. I'm good.
Okay,
I'm doing good this week.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. Look at that smile, y'all. My friend. When she don't have a lot to say. Okay. So last week we talked about our parenting. Well, I talked about my parenting journey.
Yes.
So far, and so now it's my friend's turn.
Woo, woo.
It's Lisa's turn, you guys.
Come on, ready, train. It was something you were supposed to bring back this week, but I forgot what it was.
I was gonna bring it back, but I think we can just wait.
Okay.
And maybe we can do that together.
Okay.
On the next episode.
Period.
Okay. But if you get into yours today, that's fine also.
Okay.
So, my first question for my friend is, first of all, how old were you when you first found out you were pregnant?
When I first found out I was pregnant? So, do we want to go back to the beginning of my parenting journey or start with the pregnancy?
Wherever you would like.
Okay, let's
go back to the beginning.
Okay. So, I feel like my parenting journey is a little unorthodox because my oldest child is not my biological child. And so I met her shortly after I met her dad, actually. So it really started with, like, me. I think I, like, took him to pick her up one day. And she was, like, 2.5. So I think I was, like, 20. I guess I was 25. Yeah, I was 25. And she was 2.5. And I went to pick her up. Mind you, it was so ghetto. I didn't have a car seat or anything. He didn't bring no car seat. He was like, oh, I just need to stop over here and pick my daughter up real quick. Anyway, she was sitting in the back seat just staring at me like, who the F is this? And from that moment, our fate was sealed.
She's loved you ever since.
Yeah, so I helped out with her. She was like 2.5 then, and I helped out with her. Like, she was kind of around more and more, which it was super early in our situationship. at the time, but she was around more and more, and she was a huge part of what kept me dating this man. I'm not going to lie. I can, in retrospect, I can be honest about that. But yeah, and then on her third birthday, I remember getting her ready, and I was just like, I just want to be here for this little baby. I'm also because her third birthday was so last minute, and he was just like throwing stuff together, and I was like, what a man. And so I was like,
now I gotta take charge.
Girl, I was like, I can't wait to plan her next birthday party because it's gonna be planned out, and I'm not playing no games. So I immediately just like threw myself fully into it. And then, yeah, we ended up moving in together like probably 4 or 5 months after that. And so that was the first time she had her own room. And I remember like showing her her room, and she was so excited. And I was like, oh yeah,
she's mine.
I'm going to give this kid everything. She's going to have everything. And so she's 11 now. Yeah. And she's my baby. And, you know, me and her dad have parted ways at this point, but she's still my baby.
Okay.
Period. So that was interesting because I was a party girl. I was 25 and I was living my best life. I'm not that was my best life, but you know what I mean when I say that.
Right.
I was in these streets. Okay. So that was a huge undertaking at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I was just like so excited to do it that I didn't even think about how big of a deal it really was. I don't think until like years later I was like, "Oh Lord, why did I jump into this so cavalierly?" Girl. Yeah, I was really excited to just
be somebody's mom.
Yeah, I don't regret taking on the role as her mother, but I do think that I should have given it more thought at 25 years old because I don't think that I was doing everything that I needed to do in those first few years.
Oh.
I just feel like my parenting style was not up to par.
Yeah.
And I could have done better. But because I was just like, whatever.
I feel that. Yeah. I feel like probably most parents are like that.
I guess.
So maybe the older your kids get, or maybe even the more kids you have, the better parent you become. Maybe.
That's possible.
Because hopefully you're growing.
Yeah.
You're evolving.
Yeah.
You know, to be a better person. So yeah.
I feel like I would have researched more things. But whatever. It's fine.
Okay. Research.
We're working it out. Yeah, because you know me.
A lot of this is just winging it.
You're right, it is. But I need to know the
basics?
The
developmental stuff?
Yeah, like the research-based statistics.
Okay. Oh, girl, statistics. Okay. Gotta be careful with those.
All right.
So yeah, that was one of my questions. Maybe I should have put it closer to the top. But basically, what the question was, at that time, did he have full custody of her?
The custody situation was interesting, but basically, he had full physical custody of her.
Okay.
She did see her mom occasionally, but they had a toxic situation going on. It was also a situation where I was like, I want to meet her mom, but he was like, no. And I don't know. I never really got to talk to her the way that I wanted to, and I don't know if he just felt like I was too like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to like really talk to her mom, because he, you know, had this view that I was green.
Oh, explain that.
Or I guess naive is the regular term for it.
He thought you were naive?
He thought I was naive as like a person. I was just like too optimistic and like,
That makes me so angry. Right.
I think he just felt like I had lived a sheltered life, which I hadn't really, but I guess like I hadn't seen all the things that he had seen.
He just lived a different.
Yes, exactly.
Different.
But at the time, he just felt like, no, you don't need to talk to her because.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was just more of a control thing in hindsight. Okay. Also, I'm going to try my best not to sound shady at any point while I am talking.
But she's also speaking her truth.
Yeah, I'm going to try to speak in facts, not in shade. You feel me?
I'm with it.
Which we get along pretty decently now, so.
Good.
I'm really not trying to be shady.
Okay. So.
Pregnant.
Okay. Well, now that you have Maya, and Maya is now how old when you find out that you're pregnant?
Okay, so I've had 2 pregnancies, right? My first pregnancy resulted in a loss, but when I found out I was pregnant, then I think I was 26. I was 26 when I found out I was pregnant, and that pregnancy test came on the heels of their dad doing a bid in jail. So I think he had gone, it was like probation violation or something. It was like 4 months. But he had been gone like a week, and it was just me and Maya. And I was like, something's not right. I don't even know what made me, I just felt like something was off. I hadn't like missed my period, but I was just like, something's off. And I used to keep pregnancy tests because I was a little anxious about whatever. But so I took one. It was like 4 a.m. or something because I used to work early in the morning. I took a pregnancy test and it was positive. And I was like, wow, I'm pregnant by someone that's in jail. That was my first thought, is that I'm pregnant by someone that's in jail. And no shade to anybody who's been pregnant by someone in jail. But I was like, this isn't ideal. This wasn't the plan. And honestly, at the time, I didn't even feel like, this relationship is going places. Like I said, at that point, I had resolved myself to being in this relationship for the kid. So that was striking. That was huge. And then I when I went to work, my sister worked with me. As soon as she got in that morning, I was like, girl. And I told her, and she was excited. So that kind of made me feel a little bit better, that I felt like I had support, and I wasn't just some girl who was pregnant by some dude in jail by myself with another kid and like just out here in these streets trying to make my life work. So yeah, that made me feel a little better. I felt a little bit more secure, and I was excited. I got excited. I actually told you at this point we were good friends. And then I think I had scheduled my first appointment, but when I went in for my first appointment, they were just like, there's no heartbeat. And that was really hard. Initially I was just like, what? Check again. Like, what are you talking about?
What do you mean?
Yeah, pregnancy test was positive. What are you talking about? And so that was something that the doctor was just like, this actually happens pretty often. And he was like, that's why we discourage people from announcing their pregnancies until they're in the second trimester. And at this point, I had told so many people. Also,
it's your first time.
Yeah, I was excited. But he was like, this happens a lot. Like, sometimes it happens before a woman even realizes that she's actually pregnant. And so I was just like, well, that's weird. Because, like, I had gone from being very scared and, like, what the F to, like, okay, let's get excited. To, like, oh, actually, no. So that was hard. I was really sad. I was really depressed. And then I had to, like, go back and tell everybody that I had told that I was pregnant. That was the hardest part.
I remember.
Yeah, it was like to retract my statement. And I think I just told most people via text, which is probably not, I mean, it wasn't their baby, so whatever, F them. But that was just the best that I could do at the time. And I was like, I want to tell people so that nobody is like asking me questions later.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to let them know immediately so they don't bother me about it. But like, I can't call them and tell them this.
Right.
So yeah, and then I immediately got on birth control. And I didn't have any insurance at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So the doctor was like, oh, there's these pills you could get for $8. And I was like, yeah, sign me up. I'll take that. And I was like, I ain't finna be out here pregnant by this man
Again.
that was in jail. But then what had happened was...
Mm-hmm. What happened?
So what had happened was I got paranoid. My homeboy was like, what? You taking $8 birth control pills? Like, they probably killing you. And like all these conspiracy theories.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna die. So I threw my birth control pills in the trash. And next thing you know, I was pregnant.
So them $8 might have been working. I did not know that.
Yeah. I was on $8 birth control pills, and this dude talked me out of it. He was like...
A dude talked
I
you
know,
out
it
of
was
birth
so
control.
dumb. I was dumb.
You were not dumb.
I mean, it's fine. It worked out the way it was supposed to, but obviously I was not prepared to get pregnant at that point. But I did, because I stopped taking my $8 birth control pills.
Unexpected.
Yeah. So, unexpected baby. And then that one, when I found out, I again felt like something's not right here.
Mm-hmm.
He was home at this point, obviously, because he got me pregnant. He was also, we was like beefing immediately, but whatever. He was in the living room playing video games on the PS4 that I got him as a gift. I'm just stating facts.
All the details.
And I was like, let me take this pregnancy test. I didn't want to tell him because I was just like, I don't want to get him riled up if it's not anything. So I went to the bathroom and took a pregnancy test, and it was positive. And so I came out, and I was trying to get his attention, and he was not paying attention. And I was like, you know what? And I just like went over there and shoved it in his face and walked off. And he was like, what? What is this? And I was like, apparently I'm pregnant by someone who can't even stop playing the game for 2 seconds for me to tell them that I'm pregnant. It was toxic. It was toxic. But
Okay.
But yeah, that was how I told him, and we moved forward from there.
Okay. So, what was your pregnancy like?
So I think I was going through a lot of things mentally, as far as my mental health was concerned, for a long time prior to being pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my pregnancy just exacerbated those issues. And I don't even think I realized at the time what I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hindsight is 20/20. It is. So looking back, I can be like, I had been depressed for a long time. But I didn't realize it. I had a lot of support, again, like from my family and all that stuff. And he was pretty supportive during my pregnancy. I mean, some of the issues that we had prior to the pregnancy still reared their ugly heads during the pregnancy and after the pregnancy. But yeah, I think the hardest thing was just that he had this view of like, you're a woman and you should be able to handle this pregnancy and all the other things that you've been doing, and that shouldn't be a problem. And so that
like
was,
minimal empathy.
Yeah, there was very little empathy and just like not a whole lot of help around the house, because he's like, you're a woman, do the woman things. And even with my oldest two being there and like me being pregnant for
Barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen.
Yeah, and I also still working my job. So, but yeah, I think it just showed that we just had very different views. And that really came to the forefront. And so I think we actually like broke up at some point, but it wasn't like, it was like, I'm done with you, like stupid breakups. But it wasn't like, it didn't stick.
Yeah.
So it was turbulent. It was a rough pregnancy overall. Especially because he was very much like, why do you want to be an old lady? Like at that point, because I was like, I'm a mom of 2 now. Like, I don't have time to be, like, I think he still wanted me to be that 25-year-old that I was when things started, and I just wasn't anymore. First of all, I had just a host of mental health issues that were unaddressed because I was not even sure how to address them because I didn't have insurance at the time. And then, secondly, because I just felt like so much responsibility. But I think he just felt like I wasn't fun anymore. And he still wanted to like be fun and go out. And I was like, I'm pregnant. I remember trying to go out one time and I was like, I'm out. I don't want to eat. I didn't want to be around a bunch of drunk people and I'm pregnant.
Right.
I just wasn't feeling, and I wasn't like super pregnant at the time when we went out, but it was just like, ugh, no, I don't want to do this. I'm tired. So I think that was a huge thing for us, is that he just like still was like holding on to that youth. Which I felt like that's just like, that wasn't all youth was for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't feel like I was a grandma or anything, but I just felt like I had shit to do.
Outside of party.
Yeah, it just wasn't a big party anymore. I think this man had been in jail multiple times, so I think he missed out on his prime party years, and he was trying to make up for it, which he had his own trauma.
That's your business.
That was exactly.
I didn't mean it like that.
No, I mean,
I didn't mean it in a mean way.
No shade. That was his business.
Because it is.
Yeah, I couldn't be feeling bad that I didn't want to go party at fucking in my second trimester of pregnancy. When there's a 4-year-old at the house also.
Right.
It was just what?
How quickly you become a mom of one, for one, and then now you are pregnant, and this makes you mom of 2, and you're actually like going through the whole pregnancy while you have this one, and then you're eventually going to have a newborn that you actually have to like do all the newborn stuff with. Yes.
That was the thing. And it was also honestly for me a little bizarre to like have a child already but not have actually gone through a pregnancy or a full pregnancy and like the newborn stage and all that stuff. I was like, it's weird because I've been here for this child, but I also have no idea how to be here for this new child.
So what was that like? So like, can we fast forward to now? Okay, Lay is here.
Let's fast forward.
Or you want to talk about like labor and delivery at all? Like,
no, let's skip that. Okay. No, my labor and delivery was pretty good. It wasn't really bad. At one point, no, let's just fast forward.
She's here.
She's here.
A Gemini.
She is a Gemini, Lord. And I'm trying to breastfeed. I'm trying to figure out all the things. And he's like, you got it. It was just very, I was like, all right, right? You've done this before. Let's get it. And he was like, why should I have to show you anything? Aren't your motherly instincts just kicking in? And that's like why I try to tell so many women. I feel like a lot of people just feel like, oh, my maternal instincts will kick in and I'll just be a mom. It doesn't work like that. Or maybe it just didn't work like that for me. I don't know. But I just feel like you don't just automatically know everything just because you push the baby out of your vagina.
No.
No. It doesn't just automatically, all this knowledge just rains down on you.
Not the knowledge piece of it. I think some things probably come a little more natural than other things.
Yeah, but I was just like the first, oh my God, I was so anxious. I definitely had postpartum depression. again, in hindsight. Oh, postpartum anxiety. Mm-hmm. That's what I had. Not depression. I was anxious as hell. I did not sleep the first 3 days. I literally broke down in tears on the 3rd day because I was exhausted. No, it was like the 4th day. Because the first 2 days were in the hospital. I did not sleep at all in the hospital. When we got home, as soon as we got home, the power went out because we had like this crazy storm. And it wasn't even like a huge storm, but it was like the winds.
The derecho?
Like, it was the year after the derecho. I don't know what it was, but like everybody's power on that road went out.
Okay.
So like as soon as we got home, 2 hours later, the power went out. We had to go stay at his cousin's house. It was just it just felt like everything was falling apart immediately. Mm-hmm. And I was like, to be in the mental space that I was in, the freaking sky might as well have opened up and sucked us all up. Like, I was just like, are you kidding me? So I did not sleep. I did not sleep for days. One, because I was just so overwhelmed with everything. But two, because I was scared. Mm-hmm. I was like, what if I go to sleep and she stops breathing?
Girl,
like,
oh, that one?
That joint kept me up for 6 months worrying that she was just going to stop breathing.
I still, to this day, will go and check. My kids are 16 and 15 and 11. And if they get too quiet, like I literally go in there and make sure I see something going up and down. I don't know if that one ever really.
And I remember the first time in the hospital that I was like, why is she breathing like that? And the nurse was like, oh, she's a newborn. Like, their breathing patterns are weird. And I was like, okay, I'm going to need that to not be a thing.
Child.
I was sad to leave the hospital. Most people are like, ooh, I was ready to get out of the hospital. No. I want to stay at the hospital for the rest of my life. I wanted someone to help me. I needed to know that she was okay.
Please.
I was like, are you sure? Like, she had jaundice. And so instead of us checking out in the morning, they were like, oh, we're going to let you guys stay a little bit later just to make sure everything's okay. So you're going to check out at 4 instead. And I was like, oh, thank you, Lord. I was so anxious. Oh. That was bad. I was just worried about every little thing. Her, like, umbilical cord came off too early. Mm-hmm. Like, her daddy had put her on his shoulder. And when he pulled her down, it was blood all over his shirt and her umbilical cord that came off.
Oh.
And it was, like, her first pediatrician appointment was supposed to be later that day. And I was like, no, we're going now. We're just going to go. Like, I called and they were like, it's fine. She's okay. And I was like, no, it's bleeding. Like, it's still bleeding.
It hasn't finished drying.
Yeah, and they were like, well, if you want, you can bring her in early. And I was like, yeah, I am. Mm-hmm. Don't worry. I was going to take her to the emergency room. But, yeah, when I went up there, they put some little stuff on and it sealed it off and it stopped. But, y'all, that was the beginning of me being crazy. I was crazy for months. I was like, ah!
But you know, like, how much of it actually showed on the outside?
I don't know. At that point, early, a lot of it was probably showing on the outside. Because I had a whole breakdown. After those first few days when I really hadn't slept, I remember I had to take her back to be checked for jaundice, like her bilirubin levels or whatever. And when I was leaving, I was like super scared moving in and everything was fine. And they were like, everything's fine. She's great. All right, bye. Mm-hmm. But when I went back out to the car, I was just like, ugh! And I bust out crying. And I called my sister and I was like, ugh! I couldn't even articulate. I was just crying on the phone and she was like, oh my God.
What is it?
Yeah. And I was like, I'm just exhausted. And I was just so worried. And they were like, is she okay? And I was like, yeah, she's fine. But I just can't drive home. Like, I'm just too tired. And so she actually came. My mom drove her to pick me up, and she drove me home. Because I was just exhausted. And she was like, okay, I'm just going to watch. Well, part of it, too, was that I didn't want anyone else to watch her either. I didn't feel like she could be left alone, but I also was not willing to allow anyone else to watch her. that drove me insane. Oh, I just remember like horrible nights.
How many parents are like
leaking and just feeling exhausted, but I could not go to sleep because I was like, if I go to sleep, I don't know what's gonna happen to her. So my control issues and my anxiety all kicked in at once, and it was
pew 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 pew.
Sent me, honey. Sent me on a spiral.
What about those nights where you can't stay awake?
That happened to me once. I remember nursing her one night, and then the next thing I know, I woke up, and I was sitting crisscross applesauce in the bed. I had just fallen back and fell asleep, and when I sat up, she was like in my legs asleep, and I was like, "You stupid bitch." I was so mad.
You could have killed her.
I was like, what is wrong with you?
I know because I've been there.
Oh my God.
I never breastfed, but
Oh my God.
Look, I would beat myself up if like both of us fell asleep and the baby is still sucking on this empty bottle. Now you're gonna have gas.
Oh my God.
He just been sucking air. The bottle over here, the baby right here, and we both knocked out. What if you had rolled over on it?
Oh, I was sick. I was sick. Whew. Yeah, I was that. Oh, this is why I tell people I'm not having no more kids. I can't.
The level of anxiety with newborns.
Girl, I'm not good with newborns.
Anytime I even hold a little baby now, I don't even like little babies. I'd be like, the whole time, I'd be like, what if I was to drop this baby?
If people like you and
nobody else feels like that?
Girl, people will offer for you to hold their baby. You don't want to be like, nah, girl. I'd be like, not really, but okay.
They so cute though.
They are precious, but I just, it gives me anxiety. I can't.
I really do think like, ooh, I'm holding this baby. They so nice. I can't be walking around a whole lot with no little baby.
I'm like these kids. You know how people be like, let them hold the baby. You prop them up, sit them back, and that's me. I'm right there. Prop me up and sit me back. And I'm not gonna
Oh my
move.
God. They so gentle and fragile.
Oh my God. Yeah, that newborn stage.
It's scary.
That was
very scary.
That was the hardest for me. Mm-hmm. Most people be like, babies are easy. It's when they start moving around and doing stuff. No. When they mobile and can hold their neck up. Because
they don't rely on you.
Yes. For
every single thing.
Yes. I think up until that point in my life, I was the type of person who needed to be needed. Mm-hmm. And when I was really needed, I was like, what Lord, what have I done? I just was...
What do you need me for?
Girl, that really hit me. Newborn stage is not for me. I will be insane. So, I'm out. I'm out.
She out.
I'm out the game.
Okay. Wow, at least you've answered a lot of my questions. Okay. I will say, that was when my mom, well, she didn't move in then, but, because we lived in an apartment then, but we were looking at a bigger place. But my mom was there every day. Because he was working in the evenings. And I was able to work from home at that point. It was just a lot. I was working from home, and I had this baby, and like I never stopped working. But my mom was there every day. Like she would come over after. She literally would go to work, come to my house for hours, and then go home to go to sleep. So it came to a point where we, me and their dad decided that we weren't going to be together, but the plan was to live in the same house.
partially because of my control issues and not wanting my baby to be not at home. And so I was like, okay, how can we make this work? So at the time we had a cleaning franchise and we were making pretty good money. And so we found a spacious townhouse that had 3 levels. So there were 3 bedrooms upstairs, and then the main floor, and then a finished basement. And so my proposal was for him to live in the basement. And I was like, you can be young and go out and drink and party as much as you want to and not bring that mess to me. Don't be coming up in here all loud after you get back. I was like, use your little back entrance. You go down there, and that's where you will live and be. He had his own bathroom. It was nice. It was a nice finished basement. And so he agreed. But a part of the deal was that my mom moved with us. Because at the time my mom was renting, and I was like, you basically just go home to sleep, so why don't you just live with me? So she took one of the bedrooms upstairs. I had a bedroom, and then the other bedroom was mine. And Lay was in there with me, and he just like had his visitation or whatever.
Under your roof.
Yeah, and they would just like go downstairs and hang out with their dad. But eventually that stopped working because
boy, did it.
We couldn't live under the same roof. We came to that conclusion, so we eventually had to part ways, and that was hard, getting used to dropping them off. Like, Ma wasn't worried about because she was older and she had to live the whole life with her dad.
Right.
Before. But, dropping my baby off? Dropping that baby off? And I couldn't be like, girl, what happened when you was over there? No. Like, that was, and I have control issues. That was a lot. But also when we split to 2 households, we made sure that like I was like, okay, clearly I have no legal rights to Maya, but I didn't really have a choice but to get on board, but I stood my ground like I had something. I was like, if I'm getting on board, then what we do for Lay, we're going to do for Maya. Like, the back and forth is going to be the same. And he was like, she sees you as her mom. All right, that's fine. And so the kids going back and forth was exactly the same. They both came when they were here, and they both went when they left. I had a very difficult time coping with dropping them off. I would often drink tequila when I dropped them off. And it wasn't even like I'm going to go out and no, I would just be like at home drinking. And my sister was like, what is wrong with you? I was like, this is just really hard for me. That was a tumultuous time between us.
No judgment here.
Oh, child.
Okay.
It was it was rough. And because we were on horrible terms too. So we just weren't getting along, and it was just stupid, petty things happening. I am never petty. I'm going to just say that. But there were petty things happening, but I am not petty.
Okay.
So yes. But yeah, that was it was just a rough start, and it was very different. But I think we've kind of gotten to a place now where, we still have rough times, but it's honestly, I think the kids have gotten to a place. As they've grown and become more independent, it just is easier for me.
Yeah.
Co-parenting has been a struggle, and it remains a struggle, but because of the kids, it has gotten easier. And because I realized, I think we've said this before, you can't control what's happening at the other person's house.
Can't.
You just got to do your best to be on when you're on.
And kids definitely feel that, they see that, they know the differences in environments.
Right.
And so I think that sometimes, they may kick against one because there's so many rules and, there's structure, where the other one may be less rules, less boundaries, and, kind of free. But we all know that kids need some structure,
right?
Some boundaries, but also they need to feel safe. But yeah, you definitely cannot control what is going on in the other house.
Nope.
So, even with, like different consequences that the kid may have received, you can say to the other parent, this is what happened. I gave this consequence.
Okay.
And so they're not, and this is what I do, like they're not allowed to do A, B, C, and D here. You have the option of, upholding that at your place or, however you see fit. But I will let it be known, this is what happened. This is the consequence that I gave. And I mean, the consequence may be something that didn't necessarily happen within the household. It might have been like a school thing or, something else completely. So, you just kind of learn to navigate it. And sometimes I feel like it goes well. Yeah. Then it goes to shit. Then it just back and forth.
Yeah, I think co-parenting has been the biggest parenting struggle for me. And just because we've all, like, from the beginning, we were just two very different people with very different views on things. And so it is almost a miracle when we can get on the same page about something. I mean, we both love the kids, so that's a good start.
Right.
But yeah.
I was going to ask if you feel comfortable
yeah.
touching on a little bit on like how it's been co-parenting with the kids' siblings' parents.
Oh, wait, like the other baby mamas?
Yeah. Because that both of us, that's something that we both have to deal with.
Yeah. So
I mean, I can share too.
But I'm trying to just figure out how, because it doesn't really impact me much, but I think the main reason that it has impacted me recently is because their dad is in jail again. So one thing for me when we found out that he was going to go was trying to make sure that they still maintained contact with their brother. And it's been weird. I think mainly it's been weird because of their relationship. And so trying to like navigate having the kids be able to see each other without having to address any of that mess.
The extra.
Yeah. Like trying to stay out of
that doesn't have anything to do with you.
Yeah.
Are you just like trying to keep it the same because when dad was not
right
in jail, they are used to seeing their siblings, so you're kind of trying to keep it consistent.
Exactly, because they saw him regularly. Like when he was out, that wasn't none of my business. If you see your brother, you see him. Like I didn't feel any need to like. Now I did one time take Lay to her brother's birthday party when her dad and her brother's mom were beefing, and it was like a whole thing. But she had already, it was mainly because my child had known that she was going to this event for days. And then it was like, oh, well, actually, that's not happening. And we're doing a whole nother thing. And she was like, what? So it wasn't even like me being like, oh, I really want her to go to the party. It was just like, I don't want her to be sad. And she really doesn't have to miss it. So I'll just take her. But prior to that, I really didn't have much contact. It was not my business. I tried not to get involved in his affairs. But then once we found out he was going to jail, I was like, okay, I want her or them at this point to have some relationship, and like I want to like make the effort to keep that happening. But it's just like it's weird sometimes, and like I said, their situation is rocky, and like they get to be fitting. So I don't necessarily want to be like I don't want to get into a situation where we're like talking trash. Like, yeah, girl, this.
Right. So that's messy.
Yeah, I don't want to be messy. And so I just try to like keep it to like a
just really cordial, right?
Yeah, like, hey, what's up? You guys available on X day? Blah de blah. Maintain contact. Right. Is the main thing. But we don't need to like kiki or anything.
No, kiki hell.
But yeah, so that's been interesting. But just navigating the whole jail piece in general is
absolutely.
Whoo, jail.
I appreciate you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are other people out there who can relate somewhat.
I'm sure somebody is going through it. And the like, that's hard just because there's so much encompassed in like having an absent parent. And there's, it's like people's parents are absent for many reasons.
Right.
But like to have it be jail is harder, or I'm not gonna say harder than anything, but from like there are unique challenges that come with incarceration of a parent. So trying to help the kids navigate that. Lay actually begins therapy in a week, I think.
Yay.
And then I'm trying to get everything straightened out with Maya to go too. So that's good. But just I think one thing that has helped probably in the last 6 months is allowing them to express frustration and anger. Because I think initially everybody just expected them to be sad. And so that was the only thing that they felt like they either were like sad or they just didn't have any feelings, it seemed. But now that I have opened the door to them being able to be angry and like frustrated and like over it, they don't mind letting us know that. They will let him know that.
That's great.
Yeah. And that's like, I want them to be free to express their feelings and put words to it and talk about all of the feelings that they're having. So I think in the beginning they felt guilty for like how they were feeling. But like,
and then that makes you put someone else's needs above your own.
Exactly.
And so, we don't want our kids to be like that.
No. And so letting them know that like, you don't have to, sugarcoat things for daddy. And you don't have to act like, you're not mad.
Or, like tiptoeing around your parents' feelings.
That's it.
But you're the child.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us grew up that way. And so being able to provide that type of freedom, emotional freedom, teaching that emotional intelligence, it's great. It's amazing.
And I could see, like, honestly, I could see it change. Like, I could just see the weight lifting off of them. Like, oh, well, let me tell you then how I feel about it. Like, and it's not all anger, but like, for them to be able to express something else verbally, vocally, that's not just sadness is huge. But they be sad too.
It's great.
Yeah, trying to navigate all of their emotions and also like maintaining my own boundaries with like, the calls and like when I'm gonna answer and, all that stuff. Or even like what I am willing to do to be helpful because you're very limited in like
boundaries,
when and how you can do things when you're in jail. But also I'm not a secretary or a personal assistant. So like trying to maintain my own boundaries, but like allowing the space for them. And then like even trying to decide, do we do visitation? How do they feel about it? All of that kind of stuff. It's just like, oh God.
Sounds exhausting.
It is. That could be a whole nother episode. My baby daddy is in jail. But
that is going to be a whole nother episode. Coming soon.
But yeah, I also don't even like the term "my baby daddy."
Yeah, we don't use that term.
We don't.
I mean, if we're joking, like
Yeah,
if we call each other,
ironically.
"What's up, baby daddy?"
Yeah, I use it ironically.
But yeah, like, and I'm so glad because we established that, like, in the beginning, like, okay, like, you're not a baby daddy, I'm not a baby mama. Yeah. I am the mother of your child, you're the son.
I just feel like, yeah, you're not my anything. Like, that's my thing. That ain't my nothing. That's these kids' daddy.
My son's father.
Yeah, these kids' daddy.
My son's mother.
That's
like, literally what we say.
Right, and I feel like really, like, it's my baby's dad. Like, you're saying the child's father.
Right.
But I just feel like the way that it rolls off the tongue and the way that it has been used
such a
colloquially is just like you're laying claim to that person now. Like, when people like, that's my baby mom or that's my baby daddy. Like, yeah. I feel like baby daddy became one thing, and then, like, the my is you trying to own that person. Okay. And I don't own nobody, nobody own me.
Okay.
You ain't my nothing.
Okay. You heard it.
Yeah.
Wow. What a journey.
Girl, I feel like I'm good now, though. Like, obviously, it would be great if he wasn't in jail, but as far as, like, how I feel in this place in parenting today, I'm feeling good. I feel confident. Yeah. To, like, earlier when I was talking about how anxious and horrible I was, not that I don't want anybody who's going through anxiety to feel like they're horrible, but, like, it was like an out-of-body experience.
Right. Because now you're looking back on it.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
You know how people say, if I knew then what I know now, is like, yeah. Or you're looking back on it and you're like, oh, I had anxiety. But you maybe weren't able to identify it at that time. Like, oh my God, like I was severely depressed or I was going insane in my mind.
And I think when you ask, like, what it looked like on the outside, you're right. I was...
I feel like I'm that way all the time.
Yeah. I was holding it down.
And it's so funny because people call me calm all the time. I be like, really?
In my brain, I'm losing it.
Bruh, I am literally Issa Rae up here. Insecure in my head. Not saying that I'm insecure.
I am sometimes.
But yeah, we are sometimes. Or self-conscious, but like in the mirror.
Girl. I be going crazy in my head. And I'd be like,
it's like, okay, all the time. Somebody asked me what I was doing today, and I was like, I'm doing A, B, and C. So you're doing everything. Yes, my life is a consistent multitask.
Yes, consistently. And if we're honest, multitasking doesn't really work.
Something is getting less of your attention.
Yeah.
Something.
It's hard, though. And I don't know if it's just like parenting brain or what. But something's gotta give.
It's insane.
It is. I still have control issues. That's a huge part of it. Of me filling my plate. Because I just be like, oh, that person's not gonna do what I needed.
Exactly.
I
feel like that all the time.
You feel me?
All the time. So then it's like, let me do it. I got it. Yeah. And that's not good.
It's not. Once again, it goes back to boundaries. So,
and you know, like I also do try to teach that too, to myself, to anybody else. Like sometimes you just have to let things happen. Sometimes you have to just let things fall apart. I can hear my calm voice as I'm speaking. So maybe this is what other people are getting.
Maybe that is what they're getting, brain.
Cause sis be up here like, okay.
In your head you be screaming, but outside you be like, let me offer you this sound advice. And you're like,
right? But yes, sometimes you're going to have to just let the things fall apart, or somebody has, and when I say somebody, I mean like the other parent or the other adult.
Whatever your support looks like.
Right.
Give it to them. Let it be.
You got to see how it goes to see if it's ever really going to work.
Girl.
Or you're going to be in constant chaos. Like, this is insane. Okay.
Don't be me refusing to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever do that to yourself. God, that was awful. Every time I think about it. Also, when I think about my postpartum experience, I'm never like, when I envision what occurred, I'm never in my body. I'm like looking at myself from across the room. Is that weird? When I think back to it, it's like, oh, look at that poor girl. Like
I think that is pretty much how it is. Like when you're looking back on it. I think when I look back on myself, I'm like, there were so many things that I just didn't address because I knew I got to get it done. So, like, I can't stay here, but for so long, right. I got to get it together. I'm so solution focused.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there is a problem, but I don't have time to sit here in it.
Okay.
Now, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think I also just wanted people to, like, be like, wow, you're a great mom. And that, like, was a huge motivation for me to just, like, look like I had my shit together.
All the time.
Even though I was losing it.
Mm-hmm. All the time.
Hourly basis.
And then when someone gives you the compliment, oh, you're such a great mom. Really?
Yeah. And you act surprised.
You think so?
Like everything you're doing is not for this.
Right.
Like
and it'll be at those moments where you feel like you feel like you're trash. You've just let this kid down. You didn't really, I mean, you did, but you didn't.
Right.
Like you did your
fine.
best.
You're fine. Everything's fine.
You know, I used to find myself trying to go like above and beyond and do all of these things. And like the kids, they didn't even need that.
Wasn't even pressed.
My kids will literally say, Mom, it's not that serious. I always do Jaden's voice.
You do. I feel like it's him that be like,
it's great.
This is a lot.
Elijah is more like, he's more like, Mom, why are you being extra? You always gotta be extra. Whole time he's being extra.
They're the same. They're the same person. Yeah, I am happy to be where I am right now as far as like how I feel about parenting and like the confidence that I have. Mm-hmm. So I think therapy has helped. Mm-hmm. The developmental ages of my children has helped. They are more independent. And just, you know, me figuring out that I don't have to do everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And not feeling guilty about, like, leaning on others.
Ask people for help.
Yeah. Making these kids help each other. Ciao.
Let them learn some things on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Let them figure it out. Okay. It's okay.
Yeah. The moral of the story is, I do not do newborns.
And nobody has their shit all the way together, okay?
Yeah.
So we hope that you guys have enjoyed us sharing some details from our parenting journey.
Yes. Thanks for listening. If you have questions, send them. Write them in the comments. Let us know.
Yes.
We'll answer. If there's something that we skipped over or you want to know, ask.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're down to answer questions. I don't know. I was going to say next time, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know what next time will bring us, honestly.
You never know.
We out here.
Just check back in with us, guys. We love y'all.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye.